Hi, my name is Hope Braithwaite, and I am an assistant professor for watershed quality with Utah State University Water Quality Extension. I love attending the Salt Lake County Watershed Symposium, and I'm so glad it's still happening virtually this year, and I'm really grateful to be a part of it. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to participate in the symposium and watch this presentation. Hopefully it's informative and helpful. I'm always looking for partners and innovative ideas, so feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or ideas that come to mind. As you listen to this presentation, I am always looking for people to collaborate with, so I would love to hear from you. So I'm really excited to share with you about Don't Share. So Don't Share is a campaign that focuses on helping small acreage owners improve water quality. We're calling the Don't Share campaign Don't Share because we're focusing on things that we don't want to share, like pollutants, weeds, and disease. We were already developing these materials before COVID, but the timing worked out really well this spring with so many people getting into gardening or farming on their properties when we were actually launching this. So we normally promote sharing, but especially now there are things we don't want to share with each other, like these pollutants with our neighbors. I always like to provide a roadmap for presentations so you know where we are and where we're headed. First, I'll briefly go over a bit of background and the state water quality survey that we did, or statewide water quality survey that we did that informed this whole outreach effort. I'll spend the bulk of the time on the actual campaign and what we've been doing to promote practices that are protective of water quality on small acreages. Then I'll briefly describe our next steps or plans for the future. So this Don't Share campaign was developed in cooperation with the Water Quality Task Force, which is made up of representatives from state, federal, and private agencies and organizations across Utah. The Utah Water Quality Task Force has identified these 4 areas as priority water quality concerns. So this campaign is really focused on that first bullet point. So small acreages in unconsolidated areas and small towns with animals or gardens or other horticultural activities. So we also launched a Gotta Go water quality outreach campaign this summer, and that addresses the second bullet point, which is pollution from improper treatment or removal of human waste that's left along trails and in recreational areas. So if you're interested in learning more about that, then please visit gottagoutah.gov or check out my other recorded presentation, Gotta Go, When Nature Calls in the Great Outdoors. The next 2 bullet points are other areas of concern we'd like to provide more education and outreach on for Utahns moving forward, but we haven't started on those campaigns or efforts yet. So for the purpose of this presentation, I'll focus in on our efforts to address water quality issues on small acreages. The purpose of the survey was really to figure out, so we did a statewide water quality survey, and the purpose of that survey was really to figure out what small acreage owners know, what they don't know, and what motivates them to change, and what they actually really care about. So we had a total of 436 responses from small acreage owners, and this was from all counties except for Piute County. And these responses were collected at the end of 2018. On the left, you can see the top reasons why people said they farm. So because it's their way of life, they want fresh food or organic food, their love for animals, and then teaching kids a work ethic. And then on the right, you'll see a word bubble. So these are the words that kind of came up the most frequently when people were describing why they farm. And you can see really largely that there's family and income and love and land. Food, and it's just really interesting to me to see all of these different themes play out for why people have small farms in Utah. Some other survey results, most participants have farmed for at least 1 to 5 years, so 92% of respondents. And again, this was done in 2018. It might be a little bit different now had we done it in 2020. Manure was the most common fertilizer, so 63% of respondents, that was their most common fertilizer. And then personal, online research, co-op or feed store, and then soil tests were the top 3 sources of fertilizer application information. Controlling weeds was kind of the biggest management challenge. Other challenges that were said a lot were pest control, enough time, labor, and then also water availability. And then the internet is kind of the top resource. So almost 70% said that for their small farm management, where they got their information. And then this one really struck me. So most people in the survey believe that their irrigation runoff stays on their property, so it's not going off into their neighbor's property or into a waterway that's close to them. They're really believing and thinking that that water will just stay right on their property. So we use these survey results, why they're farming, where they get their information, to inform this Don't Share water quality outreach campaign. So now I'm going to actually share about that water quality outreach campaign, what we've done so far with Don't Share. So our goal is really to improve practices on small farms that are protective of water quality. To do this, we need to understand our audience, hence the survey. We learned that this audience, like most people, like myself, turn to the internet to actually get their information. So they care about their way of life, they care about their families, they care about having this fresh food. And so we really created a website that's friendly, it's readily accessible, it has accurate information, it's really broken down into chunks that are understandable and easy to do, to try and help people find or get or find that information. So we have it broken down really well. And then to get people to our website, we're actually using social media. So we're catching their attention on Facebook and Instagram with some humorous memes, some different messaging strategies that we have to direct them to our website so they can learn about the best practices for water quality on their property. So this is our Facebook page, and it's called Small Farm Neighbor. And I'd encourage you to check it out if you're interested. And if you like the content there, please go ahead and like it and share it with your networks. Here is an example post from Facebook that did really well because we paid to boost it, and then it also linked to a KSL news story about the campaign. So it's a humorous approach. It says, "You would never share your chewing gum or mother-in-law's Facebook post. You also shouldn't share weeds, pollution, and disease." So again, there's a couple of things that made this post even more successful. We did pay to boost it on Facebook, and then having KSL or having some other agency or organization involved to help grow that number of people that we actually reach that get to see this. So really, the more people and partners that we have sharing our posts, the more people we can reach and get to. Also, if they're not sure about Utah State or Water Quality Extension, they maybe don't know too much about us, seeing this content from a partner organization, someone else that they know and trust, is really important and really, really helpful. So far with our Facebook page, we have 127 page likes, and we've done 53 posts. We've reached over 17,000 people across all of our posts, and this is an approximation because the numbers of shares and the inability to separate new viewers from repeat viewers, but this is still a good rough estimate. We've also had over 800 reactions, so that's if people like it or do a heart or a smiley face, that kind of thing on there, and then comments and then shares. So this includes shares and content from our page, but if other people are sharing it and people are reacting on those pages, then we don't actually get that number. It's not included here, so we expect that number to be actually a lot larger for our reach there, which is really promising. And then Facebook has been a successful way to get people to check out our website. So over 44% of our website traffic refers is referred from Facebook. So people are going to our website from Facebook. They see a funny meme, they see something there, and then they're directed to our website where they can find more information and actual content behind those little catchy phrases and memes and things that we're posting on social media. So we're still learning about our audience. As our page grows, these numbers will change and we'll adjust our strategies as we learn about our audience and what they like and what they need. The top graph shows who we're reaching with these posts by age and gender. So we're currently reaching more women than men, and mostly in the 25 to 44 and over 65 years old, those categories. The bottom graph is who is following our page. So young people get a hard time about being on social media all the time, but we're reaching an older demographic here as well, which I think is great. I don't know for sure, but I'm wondering if this is kind of that retirement age where they're wanting to pick up or increase their farming or gardening practices and are interested. So we also have an Instagram account. It's at Utah Don't Share. And this is where we post similar content as our Facebook page, but we really tailor it to this platform, including all these different hashtags and different things. So you can follow us if you prefer Facebook or Instagram. You can kind of see that same content on either platform. So our key findings for using social media, we had good page growth in the first 4 months. However, it's kind of stalled out since August. We did a big push in spring and summer, fall months, but now that it's winter, we're taking this time to kind of reevaluate, reorganize, and then we'll be back up and really pushing it during the growing season and when people are getting ready to work on their small acreages. So having people and organizations share our content has really helped increase our reach and growth. And then sending requests to like our page to people who've engaged with our content. So if they've liked something or commented on it, then sending them a request to like this page has been a really successful way to get more people involved and liking our page. The majority of people like our content and appreciate the resources, especially funding opportunities. If we're able to find things or grants or funding opportunities for small acreages, we always try and put it on there so people can find those resources. And then when we can, boosting our posts has helped us increase awareness from the campaign and engagement from our audience. The more we can increase people sharing and following these resources, the better we can really get the word out. So again, now that we're going into these winter months, we're going to be working out a strategy and content for this upcoming spring. So it has been successful using social media to get people to our website where they can find out more information about water quality best practices on their small acreages. We've been doing a really good job using social to drive quantity traffic to the website. So we're getting a lot of people going from our social media to our website, but they're not always the people who are interested in what the site has to offer. So we sometimes have a higher bounce rate or lower time that they're actually spending on the page. And so moving forward, we really want to focus on finding and driving more of our quality traffic. So finding the people that meet our target audience and will want to view that content, will stay longer on that page, will actually read through things and hopefully implement some of these practices is really important. And so we want to really meet those people that will change their practices or will learn from this and then do something about it on their small acreages. So our current traffic is really dependent on how much we're promoting it and on social media and sharing. If we're not doing that, we're getting less people to our site, which makes sense. So in the springtime, we want to continually promote this. And the more partners we have, the more people we have getting involved, then it'll be a little more self-sustaining as people are part of the page, have liked it or following us, then we'll still have that same reach. So if you like what you're seeing now or know of people that would find this useful, please like our page and share the content or reach out if you have other ideas for collaboration. So finally, here is the actual Don't Share website. So it's don'tshare.utah.gov. And I'll quickly go through the main pages. They're just screenshots in this presentation, but I would encourage you to check it out yourself. So here's a home page. And again, we're really just trying to get water quality best practices for small acreage farms out there, and do it in kind of this funny, humorous, very friendly, accessible way. On our main page, we have these graphics about being a good neighbor. So here are some things that good neighbors do. They fence their animals out of waterways, and there's all these different links for each thing, so you can get more information about what that looks like. So what's a natural vegetation along stream banks? How do I do that? What does that look like? What about pesticides and hazardous materials? So you can get all of this information right there on our homepage. We also have a graphic about the problem neighbor and what that looks like. And again, so that people can kind of see, oh, what am I doing? What is my neighbor doing? What does this look like for me? We also have the sad neighbor, and of course we don't want that to happen. Having a contaminated well, sick animals, excessive weeds, all these things that are what we are trying to avoid in this scenario. There's even a quiz that people can take to find out basically which type of neighbor you are, and get resources specific to those challenges that you're facing on your property. So it asks questions about if you have a well, it asks questions about septic systems. So for example, if you do have a septic system, and if you hit that plus sign on the right side for the first question, is your septic system less than 100 feet away from your well or surface water? Then it drops down and gives you information. And we always try to have these broken down into really small digestible chunks. And then if you want more information, then there's always a resource. So you can see the Utah Administrative Code, and then the distance that it needs to be away from potential sources of contamination. And if that's all the information you need, then great, you can be done and move on to the next thing. If you're thinking, oh no, I need to know more about this, then you can click on the next resource. So after that home page, we have a take action section. And so we provide actions you can take related to all of these different categories. So protecting your well, if you have a well on your property, septic systems, fertilizers, manure management, pesticides, fuel storage, and hazardous materials. So here's an example for storing fertilizers properly. And again, we have these different tabs, so you can go immediately to what you need, if that's how to store your fertilizer, if it's managing and loading fertilizers, if it's spill cleanup, if it's all these different things, you can kind of select what you're actually looking for or need more information about. And then we have an animal action section. So if you have animals on your property, then you can go directly here. And we have resources about how to be a good neighbor if you do have animals on your property. So this can mean limiting your animal access to waterways, providing water facilities, and again, broken up into these digestible chunks with an opportunity to get more information for whatever you're really interested in. Next, we have our green thumb section. So those that have plants or a garden, this is for you or for them. And again, resources for how to be a good neighbor if you do have a garden. How to control runoff and divert clean water, how to manage irrigation, how to fertilize right so you're not over-fertilizing. That's another thing we've seen a lot in Utah is over-fertilization. And then we also have a section on rules and regulations that are related to water quality pollution, surface well and rainwater, wetlands, and then also stream bank alterations. So you can actually find the rules and regulations for those things there. And here's just those tabs, so you can learn more depending on what your situation is on your small farm. So we also have soil maps. We have these different maps for different fruit crops in Utah, or different crops in Utah. There's fruit crops, field and vegetation crops, turf grass, and ornamental crops too. So over-fertilization, like I mentioned, is an issue in Utah, and it isn't good for crops or for water quality. And so these maps represent soil samples taken throughout the state over the last several years. And in many cases, the phosphorus level is a lot higher than the recommended level in these areas. And so adding phosphorus to the soil when it already has enough or too much doesn't help plants and it hurts water quality. So we provide instructions on how someone can submit their own soil sample to make sure that they're getting the balance just right in their garden or where they're wanting to fertilize. Finally, we have a section for grants and assistance that links to other websites and other resources. It can be a challenge for small acreage owners to cover the cost of implementing some of these best practices. So we want to provide resources that can help cover those costs. If you or others know of resources or grant opportunities that we don't have on our site, please let me know. I want to have this be a really good hub of resources for small acreage owners. So that's where we stand with the Don't Share campaign as of November 2020 right now. So let's take a quick look at some next steps and then we'll wrap up. So we will continue to keep our website and resources current and relevant. We are looking for assistance for grants to help small acreage owners implement these best management practices, and the Division of Water Quality has been great. We're kind of piloting a few grant opportunities with some small acreage owners that are in Cache and Weber counties and Davis County, and so I'm hoping that that can grow too. And then we know of other sources that farmers, that small acreage owners can use. But if you know of more, please let us know. And then help us spread the word. We'll be using the winter to kind of plan and develop messaging and content for the spring. And if you have ideas or would be willing to help promote this campaign, please reach out, please do so. And then finally, we're going to revisit this survey that I mentioned at the very start of this presentation about why you're farming, why you're gardening, why you have the small acreage, and the knowledge around it too, knowing if your water stays on your property versus with runoff, if it goes somewhere else, if it can go into your neighbor's yard or into a waterway and affect things downstream. And so we'll really use that to determine the effectiveness of this campaign. So thank you so much for sticking with me throughout this recorded presentation. I know these can be a little exhausting to watch, but thank you for making it all the way to the end. Please reach out if you have any questions or would like to collaborate. Here's my contact information. I would also like to thank the entire Water Quality Extension team for creating this campaign. There's been a lot of hard work that's gone into all of these funny memes, all of this work with posts, the content-rich websites, looking at all of the different regulations and codes and reaching out to different people and making sure we have accurate information. And then also for the, I'd like to say thank you to the Division of Water Quality and the Utah Water Quality Task Force for all of their support. This would not be possible without those partnerships and collaborations. So thank you so much.